Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Cecily Jamela, and I just had to go to that place where I could discuss what I saw on Atlanta Housewives. Um, I have to tell you, I am completely surprised by how everything has taken place. Like, I would have never thought that it would be where it's at right now. It is 100% Ratchet City. We're there. We've reached the pinnacle of Ratchet City. We've received welcome lays. We've seen the natives dance. I mean, we might even have the keys to the city. It's fully ratchet, I think, especially for women of a particular age, which I think I am entering into. So it's okay for us to call it that. But I mean, my goodness. Following what happened last week with Porscha and Kenya, I really thought that things would be, things would make more sense. Sometimes it takes a crazy situation to erupt for everybody to kind of get their senses. And it just seemed like with this situation, everybody just kind of like touched on crazy and it kept going. Like, it just seems like it was completely unproductive. I don't even think they even really made out for the cameras. I think it was just like, you know what? I'm doing me. I think it was just hashtag I'm doing me and bravo, take it or leave it. Some of my favorite moments of this reunion were, starting with all my life I had to fight. I had to fight my daddies. I had to fight my brothers. Kenya, it was so, I sit there and I discern, I listen to her rants and how she will begin and say how wrong it is for women to fight one another, to be violent, for people to be abused, for people to be exploited, for people to be pushed to the the level of just acting in a primal fashion. And then how those things do sound good. Yeah, we're all like, oh yeah, that we don't advocate any of those things. But she's the very one that is coming out with props and things like that to incite those types of things in people. And I'm sorry, not everyone is stoic, and not everyone, especially a regular person who has not been trained to be on TV, who doesn't know that this is all for ratings, who doesn't know that this is how you play the game. When you come for me with the scepter, a bullhorn, talking about my kids, my husband, my family, my character, for a lot of people, that's just too much, and you do explode, and you do get your ass kicked. It happens. So I just think it's really unfortunate what happened there with Porscha and Kenya, and I'm hoping that Bravo will seek to examine whether it was really fair for them to fire Porscha for this debacle. Anyway, Kenya talks a lot of beat. Yeah, she's smart. Yeah, she's crafty. She's manipulative. She can fight the fight. She can do your sister girl, whatever, be, I'll get this, I'll do that. And she can also do that mainstream, if you know what I mean. That, oh my God, did I just irritate you? Did I bother you? Are you feeling some kind of way? Are you in a space where you can take the things I'm doing to you? You know what I'm talking about. That thing that they do when they start talking and being very facetious and being very sarcastic, and you're like, you know what, I don't even have any more brain power to sit here and to think about how I'm going to fight you, because this works out really well. I get that. And Kenya plays both sides of that all the time, and I think that these girls will actually win more cerebral arguments with her when they start using their brain more, or do as Nene does and be like, good night, case closed, curtains closed, denied. I I think she's a person who just cannot take being ignored. She's like a needy child, who needs to be acknowledged. And if you just shut that door, you're like, she's just sitting over there ready to pull out, and hair and lashes. But anyway, another favorite moment of the reunion that I like was Mama Joyce. And I think that everybody has a Mama Joyce, whether she's your mama, whether she's your auntie, whether she's your, your auntie, your stepmama, it's just, we all have someone in our family who loves that hard, where, to the point where they're just completely ignorant with the love. And you're like, I mean, yeah, my mom won't allow me to get married and I'm 62, but she loves me and she doesn't want anyone to hurt me. And it's just like, I particularly see that in my mom. But, I mean, my mom makes more common sense, but not to sit here and just, to go back and forth. I think she was looking good. I think she was feeling good. I think she owned everything she's done. She's probably come to a place where she was really acting she was really vulnerable, and she was let me turn the TV off real quick. Yeah, that's what one take will do with you. I think she was in a place on the show where she was just vulnerable, like, this is what you're gonna get. This is what I gotta do. This is my insecurities. This is how I'm gonna give it to you. Here it is on the table. And I think now she's like, he had the chance to see it, chance to really rehash her feelings, see where her daughter's coming from. She's like, you know what? I still feel some kind of way. But she looks good. She's confident. She was talking crazy. Hell, I think Mama was on the juice. Happy juice. Respectable. It's respectful. It's not a word, but you know what I mean. If it was a word, she's on that thing. She's on that. I'm gonna talk about what she wanted to talk about, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. One thing that pissed me off more than anything is that Kandi was talking about her mama spending money on the home shopping network and gambling, and then I thought to myself, what would my mom spend money on if I gave her infinite amounts? And it would be home shopping network stuff. It would be a lot of trips to the casino, because she lives in Sacramento, so there's casinos around. And a lot of buffet dinners. A lot of trips to, Ross, different mega stores to buy socks, dish towels, necessities for all of us, things like that. But I just think that, if I could spoil my mom, like, she could buy whatever she wanted to. She'd buy me Snuggies, random ass gifts, and I would just be okay with it. So I didn't really like that moment. I'm like, better that than crack. Better that than her boyfriend who, I'm just saying, just like, I want to get to a place where I can sit down, watch TV with my grandkids, and order senseless jewels, expensive turtlenecks, and juicers. Exercise videos, things like that. Why not? It makes me feel good. Two last notes. I feel Kandi's pain. I feel that pain. The pain of a young woman, very accomplished, who really wants her mom to say, you know what? You are the ish. Not because I made you the ish, not because that's the right thing to say, but you are an accomplished woman. You're relentless, and I'm so proud of you. And not only that, the choices that you make for your life are good ones, and I'm in awe of the type of person you are. And every time she breaks down, I see that she's like, Mama, don't you see? Mama, don't you see? Mind you, what was it? I forgot which show I was watching, but they were saying 100 air, or like millionaire. I think it was this show. Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I'm probably in the 100 air, if that's even a word category. But my mom's so proud of me. But if I was a millionaire to have created all these shows, she's got a lot of spinoffs, all this music and all this stuff, man, I mean, my mom would just be so proud. And I really think that sometimes we get locked into pain. Sometimes we get locked into the pain that we experienced a long time ago when we're young, like the first tragic thing that happened to us, 5, 6 years old. You go back to that moment when you're hurt. You go back to that moment of, dang, I'm that 6-year-old kid who just really wants my mom to say I did a good job. And I'm on the cusp of grown, and I know Kandi is too. And it's like, you know what? You gotta, at some point, just take all those things, those little band-aids that we have, and put it over the hurt and say, you know what? My life wasn't the way that I would have liked it to be, but it doesn't define who I am. Because if you get locked in that pain, you just you don't really live. You're just living for a moment that's not even gonna come. Because if it would have, if it was going to happen, it would have happened. So that's my 2 cents on that. My last thing I want to discuss is Nene and Cynthia, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and get the drink. So I got my drink. I'm gonna go ahead and just tune it up real quick. Got the monster. Anyway, Nene, Cynthia, I really believe they were real friends. I don't think there was anything about their friendship that was fake. And I think that the carefulness that Cynthia exuded was because that was her real friend. Because if me and my best friend were going on the show, I'd be like, okay, bitch, like, okay, what we gonna do? Okay, look, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would always regard the friendship as we gotta sit here and put it in a plastic bag, and we gotta sit here and hold it with, you know, kid gloves, and we can't let this show or anything else taint the friendship. And I think that that happened on both sides. I think that Cynthia is an open, loving person, and it came out the way it should have, naturally and beautifully. And I think with Nene, she has a bunch of layers from one, from wherever she came from, who she is become today. And on the flip, you got a person who has a lot of pressure on her to be the sassiest, the smartest, the most quick-witted, the most unpredictable, and she's making the most money on the show, and she's an original cast member. So it's like, how do you stay a diva and show kindness? Because kindness does equal weakness when you're out in the jungle, and this show is a straight up jungle. Let's be real. So I think that they'll become friends again. I think there were some hurtful moments where I thought that as women they should have just broke down and be like, look, we need to squash it. We need to be friends. I forgive you, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that the friendship is worth more than the franchise or the newfound thing, but I just do think that it's really hard to find people who care about you and care about your kids. I've got a lot of friends, but if you don't know my kids' names, then are we really friends? Really? How many kids do I have? What are the names? What do they do? What do they look like? We're not friends, we're acquaintances. That kind of thing. So when you love me, and you know my sister, and my brother, and my kids, and you care about what keeps me up at night, that kind of thing, that's hard to find. It's really hard to find, and I really hope that they fix that. And I think they were both delicate enough where they could come back to something. So I wasn't really disappointed overall. I think I started out saying I was, but I think that I think it's refreshing to see a lot of middle-aged people doing reality television. And I think that one part that we forgot about it was just being mature and honest and showing grown-ass people how they should act. Because when Real World was popular, you had these 20-year-olds doing God knows what. We can excuse and say they're just young. But now, at the average age of most people that are doing reality TV, it's 33, 34. And that's not even, is that young? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm 42, I ain't got no business yelling at you with a blowhorn. I'm not putting scepters in your face. You know what I mean? People going through real stuff, real life stuff, and when you're over 40 or approaching 40, you realize that you're on that cusp of life could be going downhill at this point. Did you see that? And really, life could really just be, who knows if tomorrow's promised. You're not getting any younger. You're definitely not. And there's a degradation, whether it's physical, mental, maybe it's spiritual, your energy, whatever it is. But this is it. And you should be the best person you should be. I think naturally we all want to be better when we get to that age. So I think these franchises should exude that. Alright. I'm sure there's much more sensational views of what's going on, but that's my take. And I love the Housewives. I just can't let my kids and my man watch it. I'm just going to sit here, tape it, and wait for everybody to go to bed. So right now the baby's asleep, the man's working, the children are finally asleep. I got a face full of makeup, and bloodshot eyes, and I'm just trying to get this thing out. So anyway, I am glad to be back and sharing with you. I'm gonna work on my lighting because I know it's shady. But yeah, at least you can see my face and you can kind of hear what I have to say, right? Not so bad. Nah, nah, nah. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Have a good night.